Hey folks, I'm Julia and welcome to Julia's Storytime. Today we're playing a fun game. I'm bringing you some of the weirdest, wackiest laws from around the world, and your job is to guess whether they're true or false. Ready to test your knowledge and see if you can spot the real ones? Let's jump in. Israel. No picking your nose on Saturdays. That's right, in Israel, picking your nose on a Saturday is illegal. Why? Well, Saturday is their holy day of rest, and picking your nose is apparently too disrespectful to the sanctity of the Sabbath. Yeah, sorry folks. No casual nose picking this Saturday. You've got to keep those nostrils on lockdown. But really, how are they even enforcing this? Are there nose inspectors walking around? So, is this true or false? This one is false. While there's no official law against nose picking, it's tied to an interpretation of Jewish laws around cleanliness and the Sabbath. It's not about the nose picking itself, but about avoiding anything that could be seen as a distraction from the holiness of the day. You see, picking your nose might accidentally pull out some nasal hair, and since shaving and hair trimming are off limits on the Sabbath, some folks say you really shouldn't be doing it. But honestly, it's not a strict law. It's more of a cultural suggestion. In Spain, some beaches have a law that you need special permission to build a sandcastle. Can you imagine? Little Timmy trying to make a masterpiece, and wham! A cop just comes along and kicks it over. Sorry, kid. No art allowed unless you've got a permit. I bet the kids' parents just stand there with their jaws on the ground. Really? This is where we're at? This one is true. Certain beaches in Spain, like in Barcelona, have specific regulations regarding sandcastle building, mostly to keep the beaches clean and safe. It's not a nationwide law, but local authorities can regulate it during peak tourist seasons to avoid overcrowding and destruction of the natural environment. So yes, sometimes you might need a permit to build your sandy creations. In Denmark, if you're not full after a meal, you don't have to pay. Yeah, you heard that right. If you're still hungry, the restaurant's got to feed you more. So if you've got a huge appetite, this is basically heaven. But here's my question. Who decides when you're full? Do they bring out a measuring cup like, okay, we'll serve you more based on this? I mean, my stomach's basically a bottomless pit after dinner. So is this a yes or a no? This one is false. While Denmark does have a great social welfare system, there's no law about eating until full in restaurants. However, the idea may stem from the country's focus on customer satisfaction and high standards of service in some restaurants. So if you're not satisfied, you may get extra food, but it's not a legal requirement. In Florida, it's illegal to sneak into someone's house to give their pets a haircut. This law actually comes from a bizarre case where a guy snuck into someone's house just to shave a cat's head. What kind of pet styling emergency is that? I don't know about you, but the next time I see a cat with a funky haircut, I'm not going to assume it's fashionable. Is this true or false? In Florida, there isn't a specific law that explicitly bans sneaking into someone's house to give their pet a haircut. But make no mistake, doing so is definitely illegal. It's a clear violation of privacy and property rights. Plus, Florida has animal protection laws in place to ensure pets are safeguarded from unnecessary harm or mistreatment. In France, secretly doing a paternity test is illegal. If you go behind your partner's back and test the kid, you'll get slapped with a €15,000 fine. This law is about protecting family dynamics and preventing drama. But I mean, who even needs Maury anymore when we've got the government to step in? What do you think? True or false? This one is true. In France, secretly testing a child's paternity without the knowledge of the mother can result in a fine. This law was put in place to prevent deception and protect family relationships, as it could create unnecessary conflict. So, if you're thinking of pulling a Maury moment, better make sure it's above board. In Thailand, if you leave the house without your underwear, you're breaking the law. And no, I'm not talking about the sneaky thong. Full on no underwear. Is this really about moral standards, or is there a secret underwear inspector out there? Someone call the police. Ma'am, I'm sorry, but I'm going to need to check your drawers. True or false? This one is false. While Thailand does have strict laws on public decency, there is no specific law about wearing underwear. The myth likely came from a misinterpretation of public decency laws, where exposing yourself in public can lead to legal consequences. So, no need to panic the next time you forget your undies. In Switzerland, flushing the toilet after 10 p.m. in an apartment is illegal. Apparently, the sound of the toilet flushing is too disruptive for the neighbours, so it's off limits after hours. You better hope you've made it to the bathroom before the clock strikes 10, or you might get a late night ticket. Is this one true? This one is false. There's no specific law banning toilet flushing after 10 p.m, but Switzerland does have very strict noise regulations, requiring quiet hours during certain times. In some rental agreements, landlords might restrict the use of loud appliances like washing machines and dishwashers after 10 p.m, and maybe, just maybe, some landlords extended this rule to toilet flushing. That's likely how the rumour started. However, this isn't a widely enforced rule, and it would be pretty tough to uphold in court. In Florida, it's illegal to fart in public after 6 p.m. What? Yes. Apparently, public farts could spread germs, and we can't have that. So, after 6, you've got to hold it in like the most professional farter out there. But what if you ate a bad taco? Do you just have to suffer quietly in pain until the clock hits 6:01? Can you even have a natural bodily function anymore? True or false? This one is false. There is no such law in Florida, or anywhere else, that prohibits farting after 6 p.m. This is a fun urban legend that's been passed around, likely because of the humorous nature of the idea. So, feel free to let it rip without worrying about a late-night ticket. In Sweden, if you have guinea pigs, you must have at least 2. They're social animals after all, and they need a companion. Well, that's nice and all, but I'm imagining that's a real burden if you're trying to get out of your house without stepping on a guinea pig. Could you imagine getting in trouble for guinea pig negligence? Excuse me, sir, you're violating our animal welfare laws with that lonely guinea pig. True or false? This one is true. Sweden does require that pet owners who keep guinea pigs must have at least 2, as guinea pigs are highly social creatures. Keeping them alone could lead to stress and other health problems. So, if you're planning to get a guinea pig in Sweden, better start looking for a second one to keep them company. In Australia, it's illegal to have more than 50 kilos of potatoes. Why? Apparently, it's to prevent people from hoarding and driving up prices. Can you imagine getting arrested for hoarding potatoes like it's Potato Black Market Day? Oh, sorry, officer. I didn't realise there was a limit on my spuds. That's a serious spud scandal. Right there. True or false? This one is true. Australia once had a law to control the supply and distribution of potatoes, specifically in Western Australia. The law was designed to protect local farmers and prevent hoarding. However, this law has since been repealed. But for a time, you had to be careful about how many potatoes you kept around. In Turin, Italy, dog owners are required by law to walk their dogs at least 3 times a day. Don't want to be hit with a fine? Get those dog paws moving. And get this, if you neglect your pet, you could face up to €10,000 in fines or worse, jail time. So yeah, you're basically a full-time dog walker now. I might just start a business where I walk dogs for lazy owners and make a fortune. What do you think? True or false? This one isn't entirely accurate. The correct version is that Turin once had a regulation requiring dog owners to walk their pets at least 3 times a week, not 3 times a day. The reasoning behind this is to ensure the well-being of the dog, as it is essential for their health and happiness. If owners failed to comply, they could face a fine of €500. So, while there is a rule promoting pet welfare, it's not as extreme as having to be a full-time dog walker every single day. In Alaska, it's illegal to give alcohol to moose. Yes, you heard that right. Apparently, a moose once got drunk and caused a ruckus in town. So now you can't feed them booze. No more moose parties. But honestly, if I was a moose, I'd be so mad. I couldn't get a drink on a Saturday night. True or false? This one is true. In Alaska, it is indeed illegal to give alcohol to moose, and this law stems from an incident where a moose got drunk and caused trouble. It's a unique law meant to protect both the moose and the community, so no moose happy hours, folks. In Scotland, it's illegal to ride cows while drunk, and it's been the law for over 150 years. It seems like a good safety precaution, right? I mean, can you imagine trying to ride a cow after a few too many drinks? 1 minute you're on top of the world and the next, bam, you're stuck in a cow pile-up. True or false? This one is true. While it may sound strange today, it was a law created for safety reasons, both for the rider and the cow. Back in the day, this law was more relevant when alcohol consumption was higher in rural areas. But hey, it's still technically a law today. In Portugal, it's illegal to pee in the ocean. Apparently, it's bad for the ecosystem and the marine life, and honestly, I get it. But how do they enforce this? Are they just walking around in wetsuits checking to see if anyone's depositing something? What if you get caught in the act? Maybe they'll give you a beach ticket. True or false? This one is false. While it's true that public urination is frowned upon in Portugal and may be punished in public spaces, there is no specific law against peeing in the ocean. In fact, most people wouldn't even think twice about it while at the beach. However, it's always good to be mindful of the environment, so maybe try to find a bathroom next time. And finally, in Ohio, you can't eat pie in the bathtub. Seriously, why is that a thing? I mean, is this a problem people were having? Were bath-time pie eaters getting too messy? At this point, I think I need a law for people who chew loudly at the table. True or false? Yes, this law is real. Sounds bizarre, right? Specifically, the law states that you can't eat food in the bathtub. And while it may seem oddly specific, it likely originated from hygiene concerns or safety reasons, like preventing slips and falls. That being said, most of these old laws have lost their practical enforcement and now exist more as historical oddities rather than rules that are actively followed. So, while technically illegal, no one's coming to arrest you for enjoying a pie in the tub. Alright folks, what did we learn today? The internet is full of unverified rumours, so always keep that critical thinking sharp. But hey, how many of these crazy laws did you guess correctly? Drop a comment below and let me know your score, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more fun, weird and fascinating facts. See you next time on Julia's Storytime.